The end of My Hero Academia. 430 chapters. Longer than a decade, Horikoshi has finally done it. He has finished his manga. My Hero Academia is a story that is often looked down upon in the community, and while I understand some of the overall criticisms, I can never understand someone's actual hatred for the series. The show is full of enticing thematics and insane character arcs that I've come to personally love, but most importantly, the story has charm. My Hero is a tale, a story of hope, a story about a superhuman society. However, most importantly, is a story about the meaning of being a hero. My Hero Academia has introduced millions to the anime community. I always like to tell older anime fans who dislike My Hero that My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and heck, even Black Clover are a lot like Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto for the new anime fans. Look, Bleach was my first anime. Technically that honor goes to Yu-Gi-Oh! However, Bleach is the anime that made me love anime. And like that, for many MHA fans, My Hero Academia might not be their first ever show. However, MHA is the anime that causes them to truly fall for anime. I know MHA is what caused one of my closest friends to fall in love with the medium. I mean, literally, she has a cardboard cutout of Bakugo. Looking back at My Hero Academia, it's easy to almost cry that it's coming to an end. I remember the emotions I had watching the Overhaul arc, the Liberation War arc, and even the Final War arc. Some might claim My Hero Academia is a story filled with bad characters and that's bland, but I disagree. Even starting at the very beginning in Volume 1, you have moments of Deku trying to overcome battles while every time he fights he destroys his body, still wanting to become a hero, and as such he has no choice but to break his fingers quite literally because his body is too weak for his ability. I think because broken bones are normal in anime, people forget how much a broken finger actually hurts. Like, Deku be casually flicking and breaking his fingers like they're nothing. Now don't get me wrong, I do not believe My Hero is an underdog story. Instead, I think it's a story about learning the meaning of being a hero, the sacrifice that this title means. Deku rushing in quirkless to save his high school bully, that is the definition of being a hero. Deku ultimately knowing that he could do absolutely nothing. However, without thinking, he runs in to try and save someone who tormented him his entire life. Deku, in Season 2, essentially forfeiting his match by saving Todoroki from going down the path of vengeance. That moment when Deku convinced Todoroki to use his fire side was incredibly emotional, as all of Todoroki's abuse came to the forefront of everyone's eyes. He is no longer using his father's power, because Todoroki's quirk belongs to him. Jumping all the way to Season 3, featuring the final fight between All For One and All Might. And oh my gosh, this fight is insane. I know some people dislike it, but as All Might's final fight, I love it. Him, one last time, acting as a symbol of peace, representing that true meaning of being a hero. I have said it before, and I will say it again. While My Hero Academia Seasons 1 through 3 are good, Season 4 is where the show caught my attention and opened my eyes. The Overhaul arc is phenomenal, and that is because of one character story. That story being the story of Eri. Eri has a heartbreaking story, as she was not only abused, she was experimented on her entire life. And as the arc hits its climax, it is absolutely brilliant. This is the first moment I ever cried while watching My Hero Academia. Overhaul versus Mirio is a fight I cannot forget, and I quote, "I'm going to make sure she has a reason to smile. Until she can, I won't stop." Up until this point, Eri had not smiled in her entire life. As Mirio rushes in to fight, he would win. He may be a student, but he has perfected the meaning of being a hero. His skills are unmatched, and he's absolutely demolishing his opponents despite being outnumbered. However, as he is defeating Overhaul, we discover that he has one weakness: Eri. After all, he is a hero. Overhaul targets Eri, and Mirio can't just run away with her because his ability only works on his body and not hers. So instead, he turns around and continues to win his conflict, has brilliant emotional dialogue until a bullet heads towards Eri and he takes the bullet. However, this bullet wasn't just any bullet, it was a bullet that stole his quirk from him. After losing his quirk though, Mirio still doesn't give up. He showcases what it truly means to be a hero as he continues to fight, yet still managing to have the upper hand. After all, he knows if he wavers for one single moment, he is going to die here and fail to be Eri's hero. He continues to fight until Overhaul sends a spike towards Eri, in which case Mirio takes the strike head on so it doesn't hit Eri. This fight is the meaning of My Hero Academia. It embodies everything I love about the franchise in just 2 single minutes of footage. Another moment I always like to shine light on is the UA performance, where Deku and Class 1A get Eri to smile the first time. Moments like that are what makes My Hero Academia so special. Season 5 was butchered, but I do want to bring up the manga because of how brilliant the villain arc is. One thing that makes My Hero Academia done so well is it doesn't just humanize its hero cast, but spends an equal amount of time humanizing the villains, especially Twice, Toga, and Shigaraki in the villain arc. Shigaraki's story in and of itself is a tragedy. It's difficult because somehow the anime and manga convince us to feel bad for Shigaraki despite how evil he is. I mean, he wants to destroy the world. It's not like he's the hero killer, whereas the killing is unjustified. You can at least see the corruption, the hero society that's been created. Shigaraki was simply given the wrong quirk. He was then manipulated after a tragic event in his life, and he simply represents the side that heroes created that no one is willing to talk about. The quirk society has created villains. Shigaraki would have grown up to be a normal person if quirks didn't exist. Toga was given a quirk that changes her own urges. They are still responsible for their quote-unquote actions. However, this quirk society and existence in general is what truly made them evil. Moving on to season 6 of the anime, I think this is where things actually get real. And to a degree, they get real a bit too fast. I like that aspect of the series though. Suddenly, this is no longer an anime about a school of heroes learning to be a hero, but is an all-out war. And it leads to the second time I cried while reading and watching My Hero Academia. Midnight's death. This is a character I do not care about at all. She has maybe 10 minutes of screen time, but when she's on screen I actually find her annoying. However, when Horikoshi's creativity plus the anime staff combined together and animate his manga, it just simply made her final dialogue so emotional. And the reaction from her students is so amazing that it brought me to tears. Was her death handled perfectly? I don't care. To me, it was sad. Her final moments embody the true meaning of being a hero, which is what the entire franchise is about. I also do feel like I need to talk about Mirio here, given that he is my second favorite character in the series. I don't have an issue with how he returned with his quirk. I wish Eri's arc was a bit more on screen, but we got snippets here and there, and I feel like there can be enough of an implication that Eri was training in the background. I always knew she would be the answer to Mirio's lost power, so I don't think it devalues anything by handling it the way it was. However, I will admit it could have been done slightly better. However, I don't think it's a valid criticism to say that way that Mirio was handled was bad writing. I will admit it could have been done better, but I still enjoy what we received. Season 6.5. Okay, so now we're entering criticism territory, so hopefully all the people that have listened to me praise My Hero Academia don't hate because of this very short section of the video. I like this section of the story. However, in my opinion, it leads to MHA's greatest flaw. I'm not just saying this because of how I just defended MHA from one of people's biggest criticisms. I feel like once we get to season 6.5, things just start moving way too fast. I know that's silly for a manga that was started 10 years ago, but it feels like I'm watching a YouTube video at 4x speed. I don't think it's a huge issue, but it's my only main criticism. Now, do keep in mind, like, this is more of a personal gripe than a deep, valid criticism with the franchise, because, I mean, there's still parts of this arc that are brilliant. Moments like Bakugo's apology and the class arguing with him to stay, and while I don't care for her, Uraraka's whole dilemma and speech to UA was absolutely beautiful, and while I didn't cry for it, it was definitely an emotional moment in the series. Side note here, I love Hawks, he's so cool, and I just realized I did not talk about Twice at all, except that one line earlier. Twice is brilliant as a character, and his whole character arc I absolutely love. His final moments against Hawks is beautiful. I also want to mention that Hawks and Endeavor's interactions are always amazing throughout the series. Endeavor's interactions with All Might are incredible, and back to Hawks, I just love his backstory and his entire liberation character arc. Best Genius is pretty best if you ask me. Season 7. The final war arc. I feel like this arc is really good. I do want to allow anime watchers to finish the majority of this video, so I'll only mention animated moments until the very end, and I'll give a very large warning. Dabi vs Todoroki is freaking amazing. Todoroki's second best moment in the entire franchise, hands down. Endeavor vs All for One is absolutely incredible. This is the third time I've cried while watching My Hero Academia. The fight is insane, and every aspect of it is just incredible, as Endeavor gives his absolute absolute all against an opponent that even All Might struggled with, but he needs to finish the fight because he is now number 1. The anime did such an amazing job with this one. The animation, the music, and even the whole character arc and story, dialogue, speeches was just so beautiful. Also, Hawks was as cool as ever. My only other gripe with My Hero Academia has to be one element of the story, and that would be the traitor arc. I felt no attachment to Belly Button Boy unless he betrayed the high school. I feel like the build-up just wasn't that great. We always knew there was a traitor in UA, but the build-up for the specific traitor arc, it was foreshadowed, but the actual character betraying us, I didn't care for, so it had zero emotion for me. Skip to the timestamp on screen if you do not want manga spoilers. At the time of making this video, I have not read chapter 430. The scans are out, but I could not care less. I know whatever it is, it will not change my view on My Hero Academia. It could be a whole AOT final chapter, and I really wouldn't care. Chapter 429 was kind of cringe. We can all admit that, but My Hero Academia has a lot of cringe moments. That's just what makes the manga have so much character and personality. And personally, I didn't hate it too much, and I think a lot of people on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called these days, are simply overreacting like always. I also don't mind the way Shigaraki was handled, to be honest, but honestly, overall, My Hero Academia is a solid story. I'd probably give it overall an 8 out of 10. It was an incredible journey. After all, the end of My Hero Academia is an end of an era of Shonen Jump. Jump was pretty epic. Couldn't forget Seth's character for real. Also subscribe if you're cool.